Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Lunarism with Christeen. I'm Roger. Hi, Christine. How are you?
Well, I'm very good. And we're going to start off by me congratulating you on that event because it was extraordinary and a fabulous thing to have pulled off.
Oh my God, thank you very much. And I also received quite a lot of good feedback for this conference. And I'm a little bit overwhelmed and surprised because it's the first time I host the thing, organize things like this.
Really, that's what made this one, for me, that's what made this stand out. And you're ahead of the Pluto in Aquarius. And I thought I thought you had a beautiful, fabulous global reach and a really rich stream of all sorts of different ideas. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so since we last spoke, I've agreed to do something about the future of money, which is actually a chapter of the new book anyway, but it's put the pressure on to get that done. So, and I'm discovering that if you don't have 500 words written by 8 o'clock in the morning, they are not going to happen, right? They just will not happen. And very interesting, actually, that Pluto is on its progressed sun. And, I'm doing my Pluto thing, right? I'm not sure that it's going to last, but there we go.
Yes, indeed. Especially, I think next year, I think Saturn should be Saturn-Uranus opposition next year sometime.
Yes, it does. Well, I think the key thing really is it's about January the 10th, because there's a meeting with the Securities Exchange Commission. Once they've decided whether or not it's an asset or not an asset or whatever, right, that will have a change. It's got another very nice progression because Mercury is progressing to its progressed Jupiter, and that will carry it through into February. But I do wonder about after that, what we're going to have this week when Mercury stations.
Yes, talk about that. Yes. Yeah, the Mercury station.
Well, I'm really interested in this one. I mean, any station, of course, is interesting, but this one is at 8 degrees of the cardinals.
Yes.
And not all degrees are equal, or maybe they are equal, but we're more aware of what they connect to.
I think this seems this degree has more things to do with the geopolitics and many countries, right?
Yes, and money. And absolutely, and money and banking. Yes, and of course they're all connected, right? But what's special about this one is that it's conjunct one of those dwarf planets, Quar, which you can sort of think of as being Wah, right? So there looks to me as though there's a possible shock in the system, right? But I also noticed that it's opposing that asteroid Astrea, and so putting that together, I thought I think there's a legal thing going on with the banks here. I think that's right. Now we might not know what that is until March of next year when we get that lunar eclipse, the 25th of March.
Yeah.
But it set me off looking to at banking stuff, full stop. And if you remember, we had that banking collapse back in March of
Yes.
I actually think there's at least 2 banking collapses in next year. That's not to say that the whole system will collapse. I'm just saying that there are 2 big banking stories. So at the end of this week, after Mercury's stationed.
Yes.
And of course, as you rightly say, 8 degrees of Capricorn is very close to 9, isn't it? So this is picking up on many of the countries who use birth charts for the 1st of January.
I 100% agree with you because this degree about there's so many, especially the new country, so-called, especially like those countries, and they all choose the 1st of January become the birth of a new country. And this will be a totally sensitive point about that 8 degree or 9 degree or 7 degree Capricorn there. The sun is there and the Mercury station there. It's kind of focused on what government or leader.
Absolutely it is, and it makes you wonder what's going to happen with Rishi Sunak this week, and how interesting that they're going to have this vote virtually as Mercury is doing this turn tomorrow night. Now, all we know really is that if Mercury is going to turn, whatever the decision is will also have to be turned. So it doesn't whether he wins or he doesn't. The story's not finished, right? And it won't be finished until we get into January of next year. But you're right. But it's not just the African countries. We're picking up Australia as well, and ourselves. And we're not really so far from the chart for the United States. And if you look at the chart for the coming solstice, Mars is exact on the midheaven through Beijing.
That is a very stunning chart.
It is it's a very stunning chart, and all eyes at the moment are on understandably on the Middle East.
Yeah.
But we also have the Ukraine-Russian thing, which started on a Venus-Mars conjunction.
Yeah.
But the two are going to be in their last semi-sextile at this solstice, and then they start their new cycle on the 22nd of February, or sometime anyway.
So. Something like it, yeah.
Something like that, at 6 Aquarius. So that one's going to get another boost of energy, that war. And then you have China. Meanwhile, we have Pluto and Haumea at right angles with one another, which, again, if you unfold the whole cycle, and you're going back over thousands of years, it does seem to be the demise, if we say, of empires. No, I don't want to feed the idea of a war. just on what you can see. And this solstice chart, you have the moon and Jupiter both in Taurus. There's a lovely trine between the sun and moon. Yeah?
Yes.
Both in earth signs. So yes, the ingredients are there, I'm afraid, for a certain degree of intransigence.
Yeah. Look at this solstice chart. It is quite. I have like two different ideas. In one way, look at that beautiful moon in Taurus conjunct with Jupiter. Sounds like, looks like it's okay. You don't want to say bad thing with moon in Taurus conjunct Jupiter. But in another way, when you look at all the other part of the chart, you just like, you still not feel comfortable with all the chart.
No, I mean, the thing about moon Jupiter, especially in Taurus, is it wants more. So from the point of view of a nation, it says, but inside that chart, we've also got the Venus-Uranus opposition. So we've got the seeds there for big political upheaval. I spent the other day, I did a triple wheel with Israel, Iran, and whatever the transits were for that day, and everything was lining up across this Uranus at 20 degrees of the fixed, and you think, that this is chaos. This is chaos, and it's not going to resolve at the solstice.
No, it's going to last a little bit longer, I think.
I absolutely, I think it will, and fast forwarding all the way to October the 2nd of next year, when we have that solar eclipse, from squaring this Mercury position. So the story is, it is unfolding the way we expect it to, but it's ugly. As Pluto's this position in Capricorn, it's an old way of working, right? And unfortunately, we all know that when something has to be rebuilt, which is what we're talking about.
Yes.
The first thing that has to happen really is to raise most of what's already there to the ground before you can do the rebuild. This next bit is going to be ugly, but we know that. That's the thing with astrology. We know that when planets, especially the outer ones, cross from one sector into another, and as we adapt and have to learn to dance to a different rhythm. I was thinking about this. I was watching with the grandchildren Strictly Come Dancing the other night. There was some extraordinary, phenomenal dancing. But they have all these different styles. And these couples have to learn to adapt to do Charleston or rumba. In other words, to listen to a completely different rhythm. How much pressure, that's what we're all trying to do now. We're trying to learn what the dance rhythms are for Pluto in Aquarius. Right? But at the same time, we actually haven't got used to Saturn in Pisces yet. So we're kind of, right? Okay,
yeah.
We're falling about on our own dance floor just now.
Yeah. I really like it about the dance and the rhythm because, it's not just because it's beautiful, but which is true. I heard about another astrologer like Darby Costello talking about the relationship is like two people dance together, try to learn, try to adopt each other's style, step, and then the rhythm. And then when you mentioned about the dance with the new rhythm, suddenly I totally understood that what we are now is, yes, there's two different type of music playing.
I mean, we know we're going to be very good at this by the time Uranus is in Gemini and trining the Pluto in Aquarius. We know we'll have got the dance steps, right? We will be, we'll be smooth with this. We'll be quick. We'll be fine. But right now, whilst Uranus is still in Taurus, right? We're kind of we're not very good at this yet. We haven't got the right shoes on. We haven't learned what this thing is.
But about 2024, because there are a few things going to happen, like for example, well, the big election in the United States, and then I think we have a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction to expect. What do we expect for 2024?
That's a huge question.
I know.
That's huge. I actually did a presentation on this the other week, which you can get through the website, right? I did the financial thing for the whole of 2024.
Yeah.
I actually want to take a positive spin on the year because I don't want to talk about war and what have you.
Yep.
I actually think that Jupiter and Uranus, if we go all the way back, right, and we go back to man's first steps on the moon, which can be happened with Jupiter and Uranus on the world axis point, I think we're actually talking about us venturing into space. On the negative side, I think Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus might mean that there's a land grab or a space grab, right, with China or somebody else saying the moon belongs to us. We've got
that's mine.
That's mine, right? And how do we legislate against that? So I'm seeing that as an exciting thing. Again, on the other side of this, Jupiter and Uranus and exactly where they're meeting. I mean, this really says about the political changes that are coming. And at the moment, the thinking is it's either Biden or Trump, right?
Yeah.
But I don't even want to play with those charts anymore because I'm absolutely convinced that we've got other people yet to appear on the scene. And they can't appear. We've got far too many planets retrograde.
Yeah.
Our friend Mercury now. So it's going to be, I think, February before we really can see what we're playing with.
We don't know what the role we are playing at this moment. Things are keep changing. So, for example, like you say, the Biden and the Trump, and I think people are expecting. Is there anyone else?
What we need are people who are prepared to think differently and embrace the new technologies that are already gathering steam. Because the old system, when we had that Saturn square Uranus, that's when it broke, right? It's broken. So now we have to think differently. What I was trying to say on your event recently is that, we're taught that we should live in the moment, but astrologers also have to live in the moment that's coming, right?
Yeah.
Learn about what that is by learning about what happened in the past, right? So we are cyclical. We're tuned into all of this, and actually, I think we have something profound and lovely to offer. We don't have to talk about war. We don't have to feed that. That's not necessary.
Definitely, 100% agree with you. So, what are the upcoming events on your side? Any like financial course or any webinars?
I've postponed the start of the financial course. I am going to do events which I'll put into my Financial Universe full moon letter. Right?
Yeah.
So I owe people 2 events. I want to do gold and silver, hopefully on the 17th of December. And I'm going to do the Astro Crypto event.
So I think all our audience can find the information from the financial.
Yeah.
I know everyone loves that newsletter. And so we also have Brian, our dear friend Brian, help translate it into the Chinese version every month.
It's good to chat. It's very good to chat.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Christine. Yes. Send a good holiday season to everyone. Bye-bye.